Rob says, I get the feeling being trapped. As we see him sitting there looking angry and emotional, as he says, it feels like I've been living with the image of cell bars in front of me from the day I met him. As we see actual cell bars, as we see Holly sitting in the cell, as we see Athena says, now, we say you were attacked, wrongly attacked, and raped. And in self-defense, you killed these men as a result. Got it? Holly says, why are you acting like this is some show I'm putting on? That's what happened. Desmond is sitting there and says, because you need to say it back to yourself. The judge will ask you the same questions in multiple different ways. And if you don't sell him on it, your story may not mean much. Athena gets a knock at the door. Athena, we're ready for go. Athena says, I'll be right there. All right, now, remember your story, keep your story straight, and make sure you're ready to tell it. Be as sorry as you can be. Holly says, do I look fucking sorry? Athena says, doesn't matter. You better start trying, because the last thing we need is for Ragnar to have it his way. She starts walking out as Holly says, why is Ragnar's way such a problem for you? Athena says, because there wasn't always laws and rules in Wyoming. Before there was a system in place, Ragnar would have executed anybody that killed anybody behind the walls. So yeah, if you don't act like you're sorry, you're gonna be sorry. Back in Lincolnville, we see Mara sitting in the infirmary as Elara walks in and says, how is she? The doctor says, doing great. Everything looks perfectly fine. The baby is healthy and happy. So there's nothing to worry about as far as I'm concerned. I'll give you 2 a minute. The doctor steps out and Elara walks up to her and says, hey, how you feeling? Mara says, overwhelmed a little, but also just relieved. Elara says, how so? Mara says, well, when I told you your son was actually happy, he actually wanted to be involved. 100%. Elara chuckles and says, well, I guess we did something right with that boy all these years. Mara says, I'm moving in with him this week. I want him there for me and for the baby. It wasn't exactly what I had planned, but Elara says, none of this was anybody's plan. But the best things about the type of world that we live in, my only compliment for this shit life is, people actually make found families. And as of today, you and me are family. Mara says, thanks. And congratulations. You're gonna be a grandma. Elara says, oof, don't remind me. Now get out of here. She smiles as they both go their separate ways, as we see Elara looks a little happy and a little nervous. She walks outside and she sees Mara talking to a guard. As we see Mara says, no. Where the hell did he go? The guard says, I don't know. Elara walks up to them and says, hey, what the hell is going on? The guard says, Timothy said that he saw Kai leave with 20 plus soldiers last night and your son. They all went to get Rob and the rest of them out of that place, Wyoming. Elara looks seriously worried now and says, okay, I'll get the truck ready. I'll take Timothy and Frank. No one else leaves. Everyone stays ready in case they retaliate. Tell old man that I'll be back by tonight. As she whispers, son, you better have a damn good explanation for this. We see Ryder, Kai, and 20-plus men driving this huge van down this highway. As Kai says, "Why didn't you tell your mom you were coming out here, man?" Ryder says, "Because I knew she'd try to stop me, and I don't want her getting hurt. She's the one thing in this world I'm tired of disappointing. And now, here I am. I'm doing something just like my father would." Out of nowhere, they get hit by a truck as that crashes into their van. As Ryder says, "You okay?" Kai says, "Yeah, you okay, man?" We see everyone in the background pulling out their weapons as we see them run out into the back of the van, as we see Skull Hunters get out of the truck, as we see Athena throws a knife at Ryder as he ducks in time. She pulls out a sword as Ryder pulls out his machete, as we see Kai killing several Skull Hunters as they overcrowd him. As we then see a bunch of deadheads have heard them from the end of the road and start running out of the woods. As we then see them coming towards them, we see they're covered in acid. As we see some run and jump some Skull Hunters and start killing several of them. As we see one burns one of the Skull Hunters with the acid coming off of the deadhead's face. Athena is seeing this happen to her men as we see Ryder kicks her and she punches him, but then he slices her in the face as she just looks at him and smiles. As she says, "Burn or die, you fucking decide." He swings at her and misses every shot. She then says, "Too slow. It's okay though. This'll be fun." As we see a few deadheads run towards Ryder, as they tackle Ryder down, as Athena lets this happen and says, "Burn it is." Ryder then gets swarmed by these deadheads. Back in Wyoming, we see Ragnar in his office cleaning up his desk after it got flipped over by Rob. We hear a knock at the door. As he opens it, as we see Desmond, as Ragnar says, Look, I'm really not in the mood for this today, Desmond." Desmond says, "No, really? Well, what you're not in the mood for isn't really my problem, alright? Ragnar, I came to talk to you about a situation that needs dealing with." Ragnar says, "What about?" Desmond says, "Well, it was a situation that happened. A very traumatic incident that went down. 2 of your men attacked a new girl. Holly, maybe ring a bell? They did horrible things to her. Even tried to rape her. And she killed them for it. Now, you and I both know that that's self-defense." Ragnar says, "Wait, so she killed 2 of my men inside my walls?" Desmond says, "Your men attacked her first. And people are gonna want answers for that on either side." Ragnar says, "Desmond, have you looked around lately? The laws of this place aren't like what they were before. What do you expect to be done?" Desmond says, "I'm asking you to be a man of common sense for once. They attacked an innocent woman for nothing." Ragnar says, "Innocent? The whole reason why Rob and his little sheep of bandits are even here in the first place is because there is no such thing as innocence. So what exactly are you going to do about this, Desmond?" Desmond says, "I'm going to be her defense lawyer. The woman was scared. She didn't even know what else to do, and I find it very funny that they would just attack her like that. Unless, of course, someone put them up to this. Now, I don't know where you get your ideas from, sir, but you are one few cookies shy from a cookie jar. So unless you have any other suggestions, Holly will get a fair trial." And that's final. Ragnar says, "I appreciate everything you do here, Desmond. You take your job quite seriously around here. So do I." Back on the highway, we see Ryder trying to keep these deadheads off of him, but then they all get stabbed in the back of the head by Kai as he gives him his hand and helps him up and says, "We gotta get the hell out of here, man. Oh, come on." We see some of their fighters are still alive as they fight through the deadheads together, as we see what's left of the Skull Hunters are dead. Ryder, Kai, and the rest of the men run into the woods as we see Ryder running with the others and says, "It started." Kai says, "Ryder, they know we're coming now. What the hell are we gonna do? Ryder looks pissed and says, Good. Now they'll know what the West family is all about. Should have taught them that a lot sooner. You see, we're the type of family that kills anyone that stands in our way. It started by one outlaw, and that one man, that one day, put his family before everyone else. And he paid the price for that. And because he died, this family is still breathing. So if they know we're coming, then fucking let them. Because they're right where we want them to be. As he smirks and says, Outlaws live on in the West family blood. Back in Wyoming, we see Holly sitting in the cell trying to chew through the rope, and then she hears yelling from outside in the streets. She looks out the window to see streets being swarmed by civilians as she looks nervous to see what is about to happen. We see Desmond walking down the alleyway as he hears the riots going on in the street. As he looks confused, the enforcer then comes up behind him and whispers in his ear, Don't worry, this is for your own good. As he knocks Desmond out. Athena is still fighting on the bridge as she sees acid deadheads are cornering her in all directions around the corner of the bridge. As she sees her sword is too far away for her to reach as the deadheads get closer, but then she has no other choice but to jump off the bridge as she falls into the water. Back in Wyoming, we see Ragnar walking up to Athena's apartment door with a loaded gun. As Holly hears a knock at the door, as Ragnar opens the door.